فلسطين هذا الانقلاب البغيض وهذه هذا التعامل السيء مع الفلسطينيين في كل مكان. رسالتنا للحكومه الوطنيه آن الأوان وأن تعترفوا وتعتذروا عما كنتم به بوعد بلفور وأن توجهوا كل طاقاتكم لمساعدة الشعب الفلسطيني على التحرر والعودة. Thank you very much for coming out. Others have left work to come here to stand with the the pictures, the images, the videos, which nobody can believe can be carried out by a state which means to be a republic. Sending students into lectures every night to empty it so that they can bring in the invading sectors. I celebrate the sectors blindly because in the Union was agreed in 1967 they should seek permission from the prevailing law. Which they're paid. It's quite simple. And it is really important that we stand with the Palestinians in this particular right to Al-Aqsa Mosque. All of it. Al-Aqsa Mosque is for the Palestinians, for Arabs and for Muslims. And Israel has no place in it. Reported by the police or testimony that they say they have no place in Al-Aqsa. It's absolutely true because it's occupied according to international law. And the thing they have to do is simple. Get lost and leave it. We stand with the Palestinians. We also stand with the Lebanese people. It is, we know times are tough in Lebanon, and we know that major Palestinian refugee camps. But we know also that the people of Lebanon stand with the Palestinians, and that is the most important thing. My message to the normalizing Arab countries, and it is important that we do that. Stop what you are doing. Stop being subservient to the occupying state. And say clearly, they thought they signed a peace for peace agreement, but what they have signed is nothing to do with peace. What they must do is stand with the Palestinian people until they are free. And the final message is to our government, to James Cleverly, who walked proudly by the Thames with the Israeli foreign minister, to say that Britain wants to deepen its relationships with Israel. I'll tell you what, when Britain, before Brexit was in the European Union, there was an agreement between the European Union and Israel, and the second clause in it said it was predicated on observance of human rights. But the final message is, we stand with you until freedom and return. Thank you.
But you know what the most important voices are? It is all about voices when they are raised together. So if you stand with the worshippers and Al-Aqsa, let me hear you make some noise. If you stand with the people of Lebanon, let me hear you make some noise.
you very much, colleagues, and I'm here on behalf of the United Palestinian people. What is going on is an utter outrage. It's been an outrage for decades and decades. My union, like many others in the UK, the teachers, the RMT, ASLEF, Unison, have been building solidarity with the Palestinian people. We've always had and always will have a history of standing shoulder to shoulder with those that are downtrodden and oppressed. And nowhere is that worse at the moment than what is going on with the Palestinians. We're going to continue to stand with the Palestinians and fight the illegal occupation, fight the settlements and fight the oppression. And just when we all thought, probably, things can't get much worse than they already are, we get the most right-wing extreme government in Israeli history, and we see the disgusting and dehumanizing acts that are taking place in Al-Aqsa. So my union will stand shoulder to shoulder and continue to do so with the Palestinians. If it's right that the West demand boycott, sanctions and divestment from Russia for an illegal invasion and occupation of Ukraine, then why the hell are we in supporting an illegal occupation of Palestine? So I'll finish with this, colleagues. I know it's been a great turnout at really short notice. It's vitally important that the Palestinians don't feel isolated and alone. We're going to carry on with the wider trade union and labour movement, demanding that this government and the wider international community, instead of receiving people like Netanyahu and Downing Street, they actually do something and put pressure on them, demand actions, demand sanctions, end the occupation, end the blockade of Gaza, and free Palestine. Thank you.
As we're here listening to these amazing inspirational speeches, it is so important for us to relay our message loud and clear so that those in the Israeli embassy can hear us. So let's say it together as loudly as we can. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Director of War Watch, one of the key organisations in the UK fighting for social and international justice,
Thank you very much, sisters, brothers, friends and comrades. Assalamu alaikum and solidarity greetings from all of them. Yet again, we stand here. Another attack on Al-Aqsa, another bombing of Gaza, more ethnic cleansing, more settler colonialism, more war crimes. Like clockwork, the brutality of a racist and apartheid state laid bare in its ongoing oppression and occupation of the Palestinian people. But no amount of boots and batons, bullets and bombs can ever extinguish the burning desire for justice and freedom. Just as the violence of the oppressor was never enough to stop the oppressed from resisting the gunboats of colonialism, or the oppressed resisting the evils of South African apartheid, it will never be enough to stop resistance to Israeli apartheid. Yes, friends, this journey has been long, 75 years long. 75 years that those in Washington and London and Brussels have written blank checks to give Israel impunity for its crimes. But throughout all those years of injustice, the courage, the determination and the steadfastness of the Palestinian people have never been dimmed. It's shone even more brightly. And today, everywhere, in every corner of the world, the Palestinian people not only inspire all those struggling against far-right fascists and authoritarians, but they have made real the words of Nelson Mandela. None of us are truly free until Palestinians are free. And today, it's broadened into every struggle for justice. It's echoed in every call, from Black Lives Matter to Palestinian Lives Matter. But all of us, brothers, sisters, all of us, we've got a shred of humanity in our hearts, whose conscience tells us we cannot turn a blind eye to injustice. We have to do more than just recoil in horror. We must not only answer the call for solidarity with words, we must redouble our efforts with action. So when our government arms Israel, it's our duty to stop every bank and every country, every company from arming apartheid, from profiting from repression. When this government seeks to ban us from being able to act ethically and boycott apartheid, it's our duty to take the call for boycott, sanctions and divestments into every workplace, into every faith organisation and into every public institution. And when our government rolls out the red carpets for war criminals and racists, it's our job to make sure that that carpet leads to the dock of the War Crimes Tribunal. But we shouldn't be surprised about our government. This is a government who is taking a sledgehammer to our human rights here, from the right to asylum, to the right to protest, to the right to strike and boycott. It fuels racism, Islamophobia here for electoral purposes. It should be causing, so we shouldn't be surprised it's causing up to those who fuel bigotry and hatred. It even wants to erase the mention of Palestine. So friends, I'm going to end with, this struggle for justice may be long, but the arc of history is always on the side of the oppressed against the oppressor. And one day, we will stand here, like many of us did, outside of the South African embassy, and celebrate as apartheid falls. Freedom for Palestine, justice for Palestine. Thank you.
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Break by break, wall by wall! 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 In our thousands, in our millions! We are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions! We are all Palestinians! Okay, I want everyone to raise their flags as high as possible! In our thousands, in our millions! We are all Palestinians! In our thousands, in our millions! We are all Palestinians! In our millions, in our millions! We are all Palestinians! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Thank you very much. Next up, we've got a very important speaker from one of the fastest growing trade unions in the UK today. They were also the first union to affiliate to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign all the way back in 2009, and they have stood strong with the Palestinian people ever since. So please can we welcome to the stage from PCS the Union, Austin Harney.
Okay. Solidarity to all Palestinian trade unions, solidarity to all Palestinian workers, and solidarity to every Palestinian who are going through these dangerous, difficult times under a dreadful, corrupt Israeli government. I just want to begin by saying that not only am I a National Executive Committee member of PCS, I'm also joint liaison officer of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Unfortunately, Mohammed Shafiq couldn't come down, but he sent his solidarity greetings today and also the leadership of PCS. I also want to say that I have a branch where I have the largest Muslim membership in the Ministry of Justice. And we spend a lot of time representing these Muslim members who have been victimized, discriminated at work. We make sure that they have prayer rooms on each floor. We make sure that there are facilities for all of them. This is what it has to be in the 21st century for every workplace, for every trade union, and every trade union should start doing more work on Islamophobia Awareness Month from the 1st of November. It's not enough. Let's also start saying, stand up to apartheid in Israel as well on that very month. But I cannot believe what the Israeli government or the Israeli forces have just done this week. They have arrested 450 Palestinians on Tuesday. 50 are still being detained. Many have been just released, badly bruised and beaten. And then on Wednesday, the Israeli forces threw in stun grenades and they continue to beat Palestinian Muslim worshippers with rifle butts. What an absolute outrage. It's important that we fight to defend Al-Aqsa, the most holy site in East Jerusalem, the Muslim mosque. It is important that it stands there because back in 1967, when the Israeli government confiscated it, annexed it in the Six-Day War, there was a small group calling for that mosque to be removed and replaced by a Jewish temple. That movement is now more powerful than ever before and is being fully supported by Benjamin Netanyahu's Israeli government. What an absolute disgrace. It's also a disgrace that 48,000 Israeli settlers stormed Al-Aqsa last year. And year before, 2021, the Israeli forces, what did they do? They went in and injured, beat up hundreds of Palestinians, regardless whether they were women, children, or the elderly. 7 times in 10 days, 700 Israeli settlers at the same time roamed outside the mosque, Al-Aqsa. What an outrage. And it's important that we stand together to condemn not only the Israeli government, but the reason why the Israeli government is getting away with it, because there are 2 cowardly powers in this world, the British government and the American government. They have cowardly surrendered to Islamophobia and they have cowardly surrendered to apartheid in the Middle East. We cannot forget the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916, when Britain and France partitioned the Middle East. We cannot forget the Balfour Declaration of 1917, and they fully implemented it and started doing so in 1926 with a full-scale program of colonization against the Palestinians. What an outrage, and how those Palestinian workers were evicted from their lands by all those people that the British government had colonized in Palestine. What an outrage. And we cannot forget, I am very proud to give up part of my Good Friday today. I was told on the last bit last night, about 12 o'clock, I received the message. And I was determined to come down here. Why? Because my family's country, Ireland, is the first country in the European Union to impose post-boycott on Israeli simple goods. This is just what we need to do. And not just Ireland needs to do it. Britain and America need to do it. So do France. All the countries around the world. We need to bring this Israeli government to shame. It's an absolute disgrace. We've got to carry on this campaign. We've got to carry on this fighting. We cannot forget even the term boycott that came from Ireland. A man who was actually treated like a leper of old for evicting Irish tenants, and now we use it to describe Israel as well. The Israeli government, I meant to say, and the Israeli army, what a disgrace in itself. This is what we need to campaign for. And I wanted to say quite clearly, we cannot forget Balfour, or bloody Balfour as we knew him in Ireland, when he carried out those evictions. So I call on all trade unions around the world, all Palestinian workers and families who were affected just by the bombings in Gaza last night. What an outrage. Sorry, I should address this crowd as well. But I think we've got to carry on this fighting and this campaigning for justice for Palestinian people. We've got to continue to shame the British American governments. We've got to get the message out to all the political parties in Westminster, and that includes Her Majesty's opposition as well. They've got to shout out to. So let's come together, trade unions. Let's start the campaigning. Let's make sure that every future government is going to impose sanctions on this Israeli government. And let's liberate these Palestinian people once and for all. You know, the Israeli imperialism, they could beat us into the ground, but they'll never break our spirits. We'll come back in the next generation, and the next generation afterwards, if you keep winning, because you'll never break us. We, the whole trade union movement, stand up for all working people in Palestine. Solidarity.
Thank you, Austin, for that fantastic speech. As Austin said, the UK government is complicit in these horrific crimes. They are funding an illegal occupation every single day. They are maintaining an apartheid. They are maintaining settler colonialism. We need to make our stance known. We need sanctions to be imposed on Israel now. To say it with me, free, free, Palestine. 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 It's with great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, a volunteer from the organisation Friends of Al-Aqsa, Tendinda. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, friends. Thank you all for coming out here today outside the Israeli embassy. Today, we are all friends of Al-Aqsa. April 2022, 8th of May 2021, 1st of February 2020. Every single year, like clockwork, particularly during Ramadan, the Israeli occupation forces attack Masjid al-Aqsa. This year was no different, with 2 days of attacks on worshippers in the masjid, followed by airstrikes in Gaza last night. The media would have you believe that these are clashes or a conflict of equal sides. Let's call it out for what it really is. It is an apartheid state exerting their military control through the use of stun grenades and tear gas to brutally and violently attack and detain worshippers in the third holiest site in Islam during the holy month of Ramadan. Every single person has the right to be safe in a place of worship, be it a mosque, a church, or a synagogue. And attacking any place of worship should be considered an act of terror. So why is it not the same for Masjid al-Aqsa? These are not randomized attacks. They are state-sanctioned, systemic, targeted attacks on civilians. It is a part of an illegal occupation of Palestinian land since 1948. It is apartheid. Israel's apartheid policies continue, and until there is an end to the airstrikes and blockade on Gaza, an end to the senseless and brutal attacks on Masjid al-Aqsa, and an end to the illegal occupation and settler colonialism, we will continue to raise awareness and protest. Condemnations are not enough. We must call on our government to impose immediate sanctions on Israel. The Tory government licenses millions of pounds worth of arms to Israeli forces, arms which are being used to commit these horrifying attacks on Palestinian civilians by the self-proclaimed most moral army in the world. But where is the morality when children in Gaza are not being woken up by the sunrise or call to prayer, but instead by bombs and airstrikes? So we call on our war criminal meeting Prime Minister and disgraceful government who are wholly complicit to end its arms trade with Israel. I urge you to join the movement and lobby your MPs to call for immediate sanctions to be placed on Israel for their countless and continuous war crimes. We have a pre-written template on our website, foa.org.uk, to send a letter to your MP. We have to continue campaigning, boycotting and divesting, because whilst Israel continues their policy of occupation, ethnic cleansing and military blockade, and while they continue to attack holy sites and civilians, this Ramadan we will continue to keep Masjid al-Aqsa in our prayers. We will continue checking the label to ensure we are not supporting the occupation by buying Israeli dates. We will continue boycotting Puma for their sponsorship of the Israeli Football Association. And we will continue to call on our government to impose immediate sanctions on Israel, because we will always stand together in solidarity to say, free Palestine. So say it together with me now. Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Thank you.
Say it after me. Hands off Al-Aqsa. 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 There are over 1,000 of you on the streets right now. Make some noise. We have had cars and motorbikes and buses and taxis tooting in support for Palestine, tooting in support of all of us today. Now, so long as the attacks on the worshippers at Al-Aqsa, so long as the occupation of Palestine, so long as the demonization of people under occupation trying to resist goes on, we must come out again and again in support, in demand of the Palestinian people's right to exist, to resist, and to return. Our final speaker today is another British Palestinian activist, the director of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Please welcome Benjamin.
Thank you. And I want to thank every single one of the 1,000 of you who have come out at short notice to protest today. We know why, once again, we are having to come to protest outside of the Israeli embassy. We are here because once again, Israel is attacking Palestinians at prayer in Al-Aqsa Mosque, violating that noble sanctuary. We are here because once again, Israel is bombing Palestinians in Gaza. And we are here because since the beginning of 2023, Israel has been massacring Palestinians in Jenin, in Nablus, in Jerusalem, across the West Bank at the rate of more than one a day. But we are here because we know that these are not, as the BBC would have us believe, isolated incidents or clashes. These are not outbreaks of violence. These are the brutal, raw, unvarnished face of the project of ethnic cleansing, settler colonisation and apartheid that Israel has imposed on the Palestinian people since its foundation 75 years ago. What we are witnessing once again in its most brutal form is the imposition by militarized force of a system of rule built on one simple principle, that between the river and the sea, in all of the land between the river and the sea, there is one people, the Jewish people, who have rights, and another, the Palestinian people, who have no rights and must live as second-class underlings. Now we know that this current situation may escalate. We know that Israel may again increase the intensity of its bombing of Gaza. And you know
we know that if this occurs in the coming days, once again we will hear our political leaders tell us that the problem to be solved is how do we end the violence? How do we get a ceasefire? How can we return to normal? Well, remember this, when you hear those words in the coming days and in the coming weeks, remember this, there is no ceasefire in Palestine. When Israel says there is a ceasefire in Gaza, it will continue to attack Nablus and Jenin. When the world says there is a ceasefire in Israel and a return to calm, this means a continuation of settlement building, house demolition, arbitrary arrest, illegal detention and routine killing. Continuation of the system of militarized violence you need to sustain oppression over a people who choose not to be oppressed and to resist that oppression. And remember this when you hear in the coming days about Israel's right to defend itself. Any violence used to sustain a system of apartheid is by definition illegitimate. It is the Palestinian people who have the right to resist and to defend themselves. So we are here again, protesting on the streets again. We may need to be protesting on the streets again in the coming days and weeks. And we are building for a major demonstration on May the 13th to commemorate the Nakba, not just as a historical event, but as an ongoing system of oppression. So we need all of you to go back to your communities, to organise, to mobilise, so that when we come back on May the 13th, we are marching not in our hundreds, not in our thousands, but in our tens of thousands. Now, Palestinians need our solidarity more than ever, but their ask of us is the same as it has always been. End your complicity, end the complicity of your government, end the complicity of your public bodies, end the complicity of your companies and corporations. That means we ramp up our call for sanctions. We ramp up our call on public bodies like universities to stop investing in complicit companies, and we ramp up our direct action pickets of those companies like Puma and Barclays Bank. Now, Palestinians in the coming days will continue to pray at Al-Aqsa, knowing they risk being attacked and beaten. And Palestinians know that in the coming days and weeks, they will again have to ready themselves to bury their children and mourn for their brothers and sisters. But Palestinian people, as they have for the last 75 years, will refuse to succumb. They will continue in their resistance. And our job, as always, is to stand in solidarity with that resistance, to never stop protesting, never stop lobbying, never stop boycotting, never stop, never stop, never stop, until the Palestinian people enjoy what is our birthright, freedom, justice and equality in their historic homeland. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Thank you.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea! 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 From the river to the sea!
sisters, friends, assalamu alaikum.
I just got highly introduced as friends of Al-Aqsa. But I've got a question for all of you right now. Answer yes or no. Today, are we all friends of Al-Aqsa? Are we all friends of Al-Aqsa? We stand here today in solidarity with Masjid Al-Aqsa. We stand here outside the Israeli embassy to say, hands of Al-Aqsa! Put your hands up! Hands of Al-Aqsa! Hands of Al-Aqsa!
Hands off.
Our message is clear also to our politicians. Today we could have easily been outside down the street. We don't want to hear from our MPs in Parliament. We are concerned. We are worried. These warm, tepid words mean nothing. If we saw these brutal attacks on worshippers anywhere else, by any other country, we'll see sanctions on Israel right now. So what are we calling for? Sanctions on Israel! Sanctions on Israel! We must be unequivocal. We demand this. We demand justice for the Palestinian people. Until there is a free Palestine. Free! Free!
Palestine!
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Free! Free!
Palestine!
And lastly, as everyone goes home, those that are fasting, please remember Masjid Al-Aqsa and the worshippers in your du'as and get involved with the movement. As Ben said, the mobilization continues. These demonstrations are great, but it's the work in between the demos that's important. It is to make sure for Eid you do not find your loved ones Puma. Make sure you do not celebrate with Coca-Cola. Make sure you check the label and boycott your engagement today and every day and all the time until we have a free Palestine. Free, free,
Palestine!
free, free.
Palestine!
Free, free! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! A message to the Israeli embassy! Hands off Al-Aqsa! 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 And a message to our own government! We want justice! We want action!
We want boycotts. We want sanctions.
Let me hear you! We want justice! We want action!
We want boycotts. We want sanctions.
We want justice! We want action!
We want boycotts. We want sanctions.
We want justice! We want action! 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 Free, free! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
Brick by brick, wall by wall. I said brick by brick, wall by wall. Brick by brick, wall by wall. Brick by brick, wall by wall. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5,
Yeah. Yeah.
States